Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about summing and bussing, what it's used for both in live sound as well as studio recordings, and what some of the applications are. So let's talk about the concept of what a bus is. Typically what we're going to see as a bus in audio is going to be some way of taking audio from multiple channels and bringing them into one channel. If we think of a mixing console, we have what's called our master fader, which is our master bus, right? So as we play everything, and I'll go ahead and play a little bit of this track in a moment here just to illustrate, but as we play, each individual channel isn't routed directly to the speakers, right? It all feeds or sums into the master bus, which then gets sent out as typically stereo, left, right, or sometimes left, mono, right, to our power amplifiers or our powered speakers, which then send out the audio. That is very useful from an overall volume perspective. It makes quick adjustments to the total level much easier. But there's also some other cool applications that we'll cover as we get into the video here, especially in studio sound. So let's talk a little bit about what we have set up here. This is the same song from last time. We're going to be looking at just some of the drums and the guitar here, and talk about how we would typically use a bus setup to be able to manipulate the sound in ways that we would want. So starting with the drum kit, right now you'll see all of the drums are being sent to analog 1 and 2, which is our master bus here. On the master bus, I have a little bit of compression just to kind of bring everything together. You'll see there's not a whole lot of compression. Just there to tame some of the highs, and also because we are recording this in OBS, I have a limiter here, which is going to be our next video, just to make sure that I don't blow anybody's speakers up. So let's talk about how we would use bussing for a drum kit, and then see how we would feed it from there. At a bare minimum, with a drum kit, especially in studio sound, but also in live sound, if you're using things like voltage control amplifiers or VCAs, it's not uncommon to bus all of the individual elements of the drum kit into one stereo channel, whether that's an aux channel, a VCA, whatever it is. So what I'm going to do is make a stereo aux input, and I'm going to label this as drum bus. So right now, if I play this, nothing's going to come through here because we don't have our input set up. So what we have to do is set our input to something that is that can be reached by these other ones. I'm going to use 9 and 10 right now. I'll explain why in a little bit as we make our way through this, but I'm going to go through each individual track here, and I'm going to set 9 and 10 as the bus. So all the outputs on the drum kit are being sent to bus 9 and 10. The input of our drum bus is 9 and 10. So it's saying, okay, I'm going to be listening to bus 9 and 10, or send 9 and 10 to grab whatever audio is coming in there, and then I'm going to send it to wherever you're telling me to send it. In this case, it's analog 1 and 2, which is our master bus. So let's see what this looks like now. So now we can see we have all these individual elements of the drum kit being sent to the drum bus, which is then being sent to the master bus, which is cool because now we can mix this however we like, and we have complete control over not only the volume of the drum kit through the drum bus, but also things like EQ and compression. That's honestly, I think, one of the most useful things that we can do is to be able to manipulate large elements of a song or a mix at the same time and kind of treat them as one instrument, then that also helps tame certain things. So I'll show you a quick example of that. I'm just going to apply a compressor to this drum bus just to kind of help everything glue together. We're not going to be using a ton of compression here. We'll be using, let's say, 3.5 or 4:1 is our ratio. And I'm going to try to get it to where I'm only reducing it 2 or 3 dB. This is some hot level here. So that kind of helps it a little bit. Here it is without. Let's go to another part of the song. Okay, we'll figure that out in a second. Here it is without. And with. So it's a very, very subtle difference, but it is something that does help. Okay, well, at that rate, typically on a live audio, you'll see everything going to a bus for a specific instrument. In recorded audio, what we'll see is even, down to the level of individual components of the drum kit being bussed together and then being sent to the main drum bus. So what I'll do here is create another stereo aux input, and I'm going to label this as the tom bus, and I'm going to send the toms, rather than directly to 9 and 10, I'm going to send them to mix 5 and 6, or to bus 5 and 6, and I'm going to set the input of this aux channel to bus 5 and 6, and we'll go here. Just a moment here. So now we can see we've got audio coming to the tom bus. And right now it's going to the main send, but we can also send this tom bus and send it to the drum bus, which is in send 9 and 10. So now we have individual control, or not individual control, but we have control of the toms level, both toms at the same time, and we can also process those simultaneously and send those to the drum bus, where we can then do another layer of processing. So what we see is really this layered approach where we're not making huge changes to any one channel at a time, unless that's called for. But we're using, smaller changes across our setup to be able to kind of help glue everything together so it isn't super disconnected sounding. I already have that same example set up with guitar here. You'll see that I have these 3 guitar tracks being sent to bus 11 and 12, which is being received by this aux channel, and then being sent to our master bus. So if we go here, pretty handy. And now we can just focus on, if we're thinking of, okay, well, I don't want to go in and if the drum kit is too loud, pull down every single element. I can just take that drum bus, pull down the fader, and then we're good to go. So there's a lot more applications that we'll talk about with this the further we get into this series. But for right now, I wanted to give you a couple situations in which you would use summing and bussing both in live and recorded sound. We're going to do another video soon where we kind of take all the concepts we've covered up to this point, EQ, compression, gating, limiting, bussing, and put them all together to try to give you some kind of idea of what a cohesive picture is going to look like in this. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.